The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Department of Family and Support Services TA session for the Homelessness Services RFP for 2018 services. My name is Maura McCauley. I'm with the Homeless Division here at DFSS. I just want to take a moment to introduce my other colleagues who are with me. Some will be speaking on this webinar and some are here to answer questions and provide other supports to this webinar. I have Tammy Cole, Adriana Camarda, and Cindy Rivera from the Homeless Division, and then Julia Talbot, who is with our grants team. Very quickly, to give you an idea of today's agenda, we plan to go through a brief overview of the RFP to give you some of the highlights of what is in the RFP. We'll go through a brief explanation of the cyber grant system, which is the online system where you'll be completing your application. We will confirm the timeline with you, and then we hope to spend most of the time going over your questions and answers. And in terms of some housekeeping on the question and answer part, there's a chat box on your screen, and you can feel free to put your questions in the chat box as we are going through the webinar. But we are going to hold questions until the end. So if questions come up while we're speaking, please chat them in. And we will ask you if you have additional questions at the end of the webinar, and we will answer them once we're finished with the presentation. So I'll start by giving a little bit of background on DFSS and Chicago's homeless system. DFSS is the lead city agency that addresses homelessness within the city of Chicago. We do this work with a number of partners, including all of our delegate agencies and the Chicago Continuum of Care. We, in the Homeless Division, are the lead public partner in implementing Chicago's Plan to End Homelessness, Plan 2.0. This is a plan that was established in 2012. We redeveloped our original Plan to End Homelessness at that time with the help of more than 500 different stakeholders, including people with lived experience of homelessness, homelessness service providers, policymakers, elected officials, and other advocates. That plan really guides our work and our partnership with other people in the community, including the Chicago Continuum of Care, which is the local body of stakeholders who are engaged in the effort to end homelessness here in Chicago. The other important thing that guides our RFP this year is that about 2 years ago, we embarked on the development of a strategic framework for DFSS with the help of the Civic Consulting Alliance. This essentially has helped DFSS in our work to move from outputs to more to outcomes in our outcome measurements, using data and these new measurements to inform our decision-making to help us achieve system goals and foster greater collaboration among stakeholders. It has also helped us come up with strategic priorities for the whole department, and then each division within DFSS has come up with its own strategic priorities for the division. And so part of that work for the Homeless Division has led to establishing a Homeless Division strategic priority plan, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, but that really helps us understand which services within the DFSS Homeless Division are our core areas of focus, and helps kind of lift up the role that we play in the city's efforts to end homelessness. Very quickly, the goals of this RFP are to, again, emphasize outcome-based programming. You'll see this quite a bit in communications from DFSS at multiple levels. We are also encouraging partnerships and collaboration, especially with other systems and with other stakeholders within the city of Chicago. We understand that no one entity can end homelessness or do the work alone. And so again, we're focusing on these partnerships. We are, especially as we are moving towards more of a systems approach to ending homelessness. We are in the process of implementing a coordinated entry system within the city of Chicago. And so a lot of what you'll see in this RFP is that many of the program models have been adapted slightly to acknowledge different roles that program models will take in the coordinated entry system. And so this is our effort to help move that plan forward in coordination with the continuum of care. We continue to work to align our programs with the federal HART standards, so things like target populations and eligibility and things like that. Requirements like coordinated entry and partnering with the continuum of care are all things that you'll see throughout the RFP. And finally, our goal here is to align our program types with the DFSS strategic priorities that we've identified through our strategic framework process. So very quickly, in our RFP, you'll see that although we're funding program models out of the Chicago Continuum of Care program models chart, we've organized ourselves according to our core areas of focus, or what we call program types. So all of the projects that we're funding are categorized under these key areas, which we see as our main role in the homeless system, and those are prevention, shelter, outreach and engagement, housing supports, and then a new category which is called system planning and coordination. And those projects are more system focused and coordination focused as opposed to direct services. And so for more information about our strategic framework, you can find it on our DFSS website. I'm going to turn it over to Adriana now.
Thank you, Maura. Good afternoon, everyone. I just briefly like to talk about the program types in the RFP. As Maura mentioned, they've been reclassified to fit under our 5 strategic goals. But further, they've also been aligned with Chicago's Plan 2.0 and the programs models chart that was recently updated in February. You'll see that some of the names of our program types have been made to look very much like the program models and the programs models chart. And that was intentional so that you could see where our programs are DFSS programs and where they are the continuums programs. As you know, all project applications should support the Plan 2.0 goals of prevention, housing first, and wraparound services. And another thing is that if you need more information on Plan 2.0 or the programs models chart, there are links in the RFP to those, and as well we've made them appendices. All of the program types for DFSS in the RFP can be found on page 5 where you can review. All applicants must select one program models type. If you have multiple programs under that program type, we recommend and state firmly that you must submit an application for each program that you have under the program model. So you must submit a separate application for each program. However, that doesn't mean that agencies cannot partner together to submit for one program. Under each program type in the RFP, you will see DFSS has defined the outcome and performance measures for each model. Those performance measures are applicable to each program type. And we've established what those performance measures are in the RFP. Most of them do have established performance measures. There are, I don't believe, any other or any ones that we have fill-in performance measures this year. And also, under those performance measures, each application should discuss the minimum requirements and performance outcome measures for that program model type. Your application should also discuss the strategies to achieve those performance measures. And your application should also discuss how your agency is going to track and monitor your performance under those measures, as well as outcomes. And now I'd like to hand it over to Tammy Cole to discuss the program standards and guidelines.
Good afternoon. On page 10 of your RFP is the beginning of the programmatic standards and guidelines. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. You can read them. The basic thing is to be sure to read them, because this is what our expectations are and the minimum programmatic standards to administer the programs. You have general, and then general, one of the ones that is new this year is the coordinated entry system, and we need to adhere to that. Family preservation, non-discrimination, and it goes into other details. I wanted to point out on page 11 under, I'm sorry, it's page 13. I wanted to highlight number 9, facility assessment. You need to have a facility assessment completed. And it goes into reporting and collaboration. Just, again, I can't emphasize enough to please read this information. And I will now go into facility assessment. The facility assessment is each program must have site control at the beginning of the program year, which will be beginning January 1st, 2018. You have to fill out a facility assessment for each program. If your program, for example, is outreach and engagement and it's out on the street, you need to fill out a facility assessment for your admin offices. But you must fill out a facility assessment. And if your program has more than one site, you have to fill out the facility assessment for each site. Also, each facility must meet Chicago building and safety codes, and it must be ADA compliant or provide a reasonable accommodation to persons with disabilities. One thing that I wanted to point out that this is an appendix. You have a facility assessment in the appendix. The appendix can be found on our DFSS website. And I will be sending this information out later, but the facility assessment is an attachment on the DFSS website. And if you are not ADA compliant, you have to have an accessibility plan on how you're going to accommodate your clients. And one other thing to keep in mind is the size of the files that can be uploaded into cyber grants. The facility assessment in some areas requires photos, and so be sure that you attach the facility assessment along with the photos that are required. I'm moving into the selection criteria. There's 5 general areas for the selection criteria, and it listed out 25 points for organizational capacity. That's the knowledge of your population, your resources that you're leveraging, collaborations and partnerships, and your staffing patterns. 25 points for proposed program. Those areas will include the system level considerations, HMIS participation, except for the DV who are not required to do HMIS. Additional reporting requirements, your facility assessment, and your evaluation strategy, how you evaluate your programs. 20 points will be for reasonable cost, budget justification, and leverage. What resources and other financial support that you're bringing to the table, your expenditures and auditing, if you cost per client, and the match is a minimum of 10%. The more match you can give, the better it is. We are only planning on funding a portion of the programs. You do need to provide a match. And additional funding priorities for us when we're making these decisions is bed capacity, alignment with Plan 2.0, targeting underserved populations, outcome-based programming, and we also will be looking at your DFSS program and fiscal monitoring reports and complaints. The timeline, the applications are due by noon on June 26th. No late applications will be accepted. I can't emphasize enough to start your application sooner than later. And we anticipate in November, the City Council will vote on our budget recommendations, and final award notifications will go out in December, and in January and February, we will be executing your 2018 contracts. The contract term for all contracts awarded in this RFP will be from January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2018. Based on funding availability, we may extend the contracts for one additional year. Application tips. First off, I would make sure you have all the attachments and that you read them, the appendixes, and that's the facility assessment, the RFP, Plan 2.0, program models, and the HERS Act. And they're all on the DFSS website. Be sure that you're very familiar with the program models and that you meet all the program model elements and the program outcomes. Bear in mind, like Adriana said, is that the program models chart has changed. It includes now the coordinated entry system requirements, so be sure that you review the program models chart. I want to emphasize that applicants must select one program model, and then under that, for example, there's you can have one program model, I'll say interim housing, and you have 3 programs under that. You need to apply for each program under that. And each agency, you can apply for more than one program model, but you can only select one program model for each application that you submit. Be sure to review the questions and be sure to answer them. I would suggest having someone else read the application before you submit it to check for completeness and that you answered all the questions and have included everything. Make sure, again, that all the files and attachments are uploaded. Once you submit your application, you will be sent an email confirmation. Please keep this as a receipt of submission. That's really important. That's it. I'll hand it over to Julia to go over the cyber grants.
Hi. So to do the application, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the DFSS website, or you're going to open the RFP document, and you will find there a link to the application. I suspect that most of you already have a cyber grants application or a cyber grants account with us. The best way to get to any of our applications is to go through the link that's on the RFP, as opposed to going to cyber grants and logging into your individual account and trying to figure out how to get to the application that way. That generally does not work. So let me repeat this. So to get to the application, the best way to get to the application is to follow the link in the RFP or on the DFSS website, and then log into your account via that link. That's going to be the easiest way for you to get in there. Once you get into cyber grants, you start the application. There are icons in the upper right-hand corner that allow you to save your work so you don't have to do it all at once. I just got a question from somebody today about how do you submit the application. And basically you're going to scroll through all the different tabs, answer all the questions. At the very last tab, you're going to provide us with sort of an electronic signature of sorts, and then you're going to hit save and proceed, at which point the cyber grant system will give you a screen basically saying, like, you're really sure that this is how you want it to be, and you hit save and proceed again, and then it will have submitted. You can go back in, you can save your work as much as you want. Once you hit that final save and proceed though, and you submit, you're not going to be able to go back in. So so just do that, just make sure you're done. You'll be able to see your application, but you will not be able to edit it at all. The other thing, I know Tammy mentioned this, is that it's a hard deadline. So the cyber grants is going to go down at noon on the 26th of June, and it is not going to let you in at 12:01. And so if you're in process, if you hit the application, if you hit save and proceed and it's 12:01, you're going to get thrown out, and that is unfortunate. The only way that we can open up, that we can accept a late application, is that we reopen the entire RFP again. So it's very unlikely that we can, we really can't make an exception if you're late. That's going to be yours. And there's always a handful of people every year that lose out on applying because they are hitting at 12:01 or 12:05 or 1 or whatever. And we would love to review your applications, but we simply cannot accept them. Just to let you in on some insider information on this, we can see when you logged in last. We can see when you were trying to hit submit. So if you say that the system kicked you out at 12:01, and we see that you were really pressing the button at 3 in the afternoon, we can see that. So just wanted to let you know. I think that's about all I have to say about this particular slide. I think there's one more about cyber grants. So this is about technical support. So yeah, if you need further assistance, you can basically email cyber grants directly. You can email me. Sometimes there's some things that I can do. If it's something that I can do, I will do it. You can, if you are having a hard time, please email me. My email is in the RFP, but it's Julia, Julia, .Talbot, TALBOT, at cityofchicago.org. And I only can wish you all the best of luck in your applications.
The contact information is on here. Tammy Cole, if you have questions regarding the program, cyber grants, Julia, she just had given you her information. And now it's time for question and answers. And we will answer the questions in order. And we will start right now. The first question, will this PowerPoint be sent? Yes, it will be sent. And it also will be on the DFSS website. The facility we are proposing is 10 South Kedzie. Should we fill out the facility assessment form for this? Yes. Under agency overview, the RFP asks for at least 2 verifiable letters of support under agency capacity and fiscal management. Are you looking for a total of 4 total letters of support, or two letters that can be used for both the agency capacity and financial management? Just 2 letters, a total of 2 letters. When will you be sending the link to the facility assessment? I do not see it on the FSS website. I will be sending the FSS website where you will be able to access the facility assessment. It's up and it's I'll send the link, but it's on there. If you go to the Department of Family and Support Services website, then you go down to Homeless and Emergency Services section, you hit that, and then you will be put into you'll see the 2018 RFP, and then you will hit that and you will see the attachments. But I will send it out to you.
I can show them. I can show them.
Okay, sure.
We're going to do a quick screenshot of how to get there.
Yeah. One more over. Yeah. Down and what do we do? Hit Homeless and Emergency Services, and then hit the 2018 Community Development Grant application, and then there's your attachments.
Everybody should get this link. You can just follow it.
Okay. We're sending you the link, so you should be able to follow it now. Thank you. I'm having trouble creating an account with Cyber Grants. Who can I contact for help?
You can start with can start with me, and we can discuss what your specific problems are. But you should also send an email to the Cyber Grants people that were on the presentation.
If you are a current grantee, should the submitted budget match current funding amounts and the PO distinctions? For example, if we currently have a total of $100,000 award between two PO numbers, should we submit budget be split the same way? No, you do not worry about any POs. You just submit one budget for the total program. One budget per program. Just to be clear, you can apply for one program within the overall category. You do not have to apply for all the programs in all the I'm sorry, I'm going to say it one more time. Just to be clear, you can apply for one program within the overall category. You do not have to apply for all the programs in that category. That's true, yes. Program manager is not hired yet and will be a newly created position. Can we submit budget descriptions and required qualifications instead? Yes.
Thank you. Answered these already.
Is there any more questions? That's all the questions we have. Okay, here's one. An organization that has more than one project needs to submit multiple applications. Yes. As I stated, you have to submit an application per program. Can the budget request for DFSS funds exceed the current grant amount? You can request however much, you can request more than that, but there's no guarantee how much funding you will get. But you have to at least request that amount of money.
As long as the program description gives evidence of, in support of the cost that you're putting into your budget.
Can you please talk more about the letters of support? I recall cyber grants asking for 2 letters for program and 2 for financial. No, you just need 2. You just need 2 letters of support. Our program is scattered site, and the only location where the public has access to our project is our office. Is the facility assessment filled out for our office, even if no clients live there? Yes.
You do not need to do a facility assessment for housing units.
No. The question is, can permanent supportive housing support services funds be used for rent subsidies? No. We recently changed our name. Cyber Grants has us listed under our old name. If we register under our new name, will we continue to have access to the information for our program under our old name?
Changing your name is a lot more complicated than it would appear on the surface. So you should call me specifically, because unless you have actual legal documentation that talks about how the name is being changed, you're not going to be able to do it in cyber grants, and furthermore, it will affect your contract, with how the contract works. Often, lots of people merge or change names, and we've spent a lot of time, years in fact, sorting those kinds of things out. We can't enter into a contract with what you have. We can only enter into a contract with your legal name, whatever that is. And so it's a little bit more complicated than that. If you have not done all the paperwork behind doing a legal name change, I would submit under the name that you are currently enrolled in under cyber grants.
If we need more lines for personnel on the budget form, can we insert lines, or do we create a new sheet? You can insert lines. Could you tell me one more time, if our facility is only administrative office, do we still do a facility assessment? Yes. Every application must have a facility assessment to it. It will either be the actual program site, or it will be the administrative office site.
And may I add, if you have more than one site that you're offering services, you need to submit a facility assessment for each of those sites.
Just need 2 letters of support total that address both agency performance and fiscal management. Yes.
We'll call Julia.
Thank you.
The budget forms are locked and lines cannot be inserted. Can the password to unlock protection be given out?
No. They're password protected because there's formulas in there that should be autofilling your budget. If it's really interfering with your ability to do the budget, well, you could just email me and I will email you a different version. But no, we don't generally give out that password. They're locked for a reason.
Some PSH programs attached to the Chicago Low-Income Housing Trust Fund subsidies in the past have been exempt from polling from CRS. Am I understanding correctly that these programs must now accept referrals from the coordinated entry system.
Right, so the goal is if you're receiving service funding from DFSS, you will be expected to use the coordinated entry system. We may need to have a separate offline conversation about the trust fund, just to clarify that.
So you upload the same letters of support in the agency capacity and fiscal management fields on the application?
Yes.
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 How or where do we access the new models chart? It is right there on the DFSS website. It's also on the Chicago Continuum of Care website. We just highlighted what the attachment for the program's models chart. Again, you can access it on the DFSS website. Currently, only PSH accepts referrals from the coordinated entry system. Would interim housing be expected to accept referrals through the coordinated entry system?
No, interim housing will not accept referrals through coordinated entry per se. The changes in the program models related to interim housing are more around making sure that individuals get assessed and linked into the coordinated entry system. And there are a series of trainings happening now and throughout the summer, specifically for our shelter programs, to kind of introduce the role the shelter system will play in coordinated entry.
Is there any more questions? Can you drop the web page that has the updated budget forms in the chat box so that a bookmark can be made easily?
No,
No.
not now. I can send them to you.
Is there any more questions? If there's no more questions, we will end the webinar. I'll give it one more minute. Are the caps on the grant amounts, can we apply for in each category? No. How soon will we have access to this webinar?
It will probably be posted tomorrow.
Yeah, they want it. Yeah, we post.
So the webinar and the responses to all of the questions will be posted hopefully by tomorrow on the website.
If we are currently funded under drop-in center but would like to change to the street outreach model, are we able to apply under the new criteria? Yes. Can we combine currently funded projects in the same category into one project through the application?
If it's all going to function as one project and not two separate, as one program and not two separate programs, then I think the answer is yes. If they're going to operate as two separate programs, then they would need to have two separate applications.
Would you be able to suspend program audits during this RFP process? We have 2 programs that are scheduled this month for program audits. No, unfortunately, we will not be able to do that.
You're welcome.
There is no further questions, so if you have questions that you think about after this, please just give myself, Tammy Cole, a call if it's in reference to the programs, and Julia a call if it's in reference to cyber grants. Thank you.